Hi, my name is Shota.
And I'm Amber.
And welcome to the Kotatsu Club Podcast.
Where we talk about all things Japanese language and other stuff too.
Yeah.
And today we have a special guest. Please welcome Tham.
Tham, yay.
Hi guys. So I'm Tham.
Or
I
Tom.
feel like you guys said it wrong. But it's all good. I'm Tham. So I'm currently doing like Instagram right now. So if you want, you can follow me on TOMMSHEN. But yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. So you've been living in Japan for a long time, right?
Very long. I think around like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Came in 2014.
You're my
Still here.
senpai.
No.
I've been here for just 4 years, so
Okay, yeah, then you're
very much my senpai.
How long have you been living in Tokyo?
Tokyo, not that long. So I first came to Japan in 2014.
Okay.
Stayed in Japan. I stayed in Tokyo actually to study Japanese for a year. Moved to Niigata, and then around 2023, which is last year, came back to Tokyo.
Okay.
Started working. So I've been in like Niigata for like a very long time.
Right.
So basically, it was either the mountains, the sea, or the snow for
Yeah.
me for a few years.
That's so awesome.
I know.
I feel like I have so many questions, but I
Yeah,
don't want
yeah,
to get
yeah.
off track.
Okay, okay.
Sure,
Sorry,
sure.
my bad.
Okay, I'll ask one off-track question. Have you been to Saloshima?
Yeah.
Oh.
Then I saw I literally like
my gosh.
while I was walking, I was like, okay, let me look it up, like to make sure I know who is who
Yeah.
when I meet. And I was like, oh wait, you just went to Sadogashima. I was like, oh wait, that's so cool. Yeah, I think I've not been there as often, but like I think like once or twice, and it's really really nice.
It's amazing. It's such a hidden gem.
It is.
Yeah.
I think like even the Niigata's like prefecture is also trying to push it as well.
Yeah.
They're trying really
Wait,
really
it's
hard.
part of Niigata.
It is
Oh,
Niigata.
that's why you asked that
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Oh.
It is
Should I got
Niigata.
that?
Okay,
Yeah.
so is it Sadogashima or Sadoshima? Sadogashima.
We just call it Sado. It's also fine.
Sado.
Yeah.
ああ、確かにね。Sado.
Yeah.
They are pushing it because that was my second
Right.
promo trip in
Right.
Sadoshima.
It's a beautiful island, though.
It's-
So
I think it's one of the biggest islands in Japan.
I like the shape of it.
Besides Okinawa, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tom, can you please tell us your origin story of
Yeah.
Japan? Like, how did you get into moving here? How did you get into studying Japanese? What is your origin story?
Sure. Okay. So very even before Japan. So I'm from Malaysia. So I'm Chinese Malaysian. I was born in 1996, and as a young kid, I've always watched like anime. I think everyone does that. I'm not like some like different person. No, I started watching anime. Pokemon, and I think I like Pokemon and Digimon as a really young kid. But I didn't.
Digimon.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I like
he's
Pokemon
a
and
true
Digimon.
fan.
like, but it wasn't those two that made me really interested in Japan. It was actually like a Card Captain Sakura,
Oh.
and also I think the other one which is similar, which was like Tsubasa Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so part of that, like I forgot, like that company's like the clam
Right.
company like anime, it showed up one day on my TV, and I was like, this is really good, and I started watching it, and then one became more, and blah blah blah. So it just went,
Okay.
it just span out, and there were times where I'm like, oh, it would be nice if I studied Japanese, and you know, it would be easier to watch without like the subtitles
How
and
old were
everything.
you when you...
I think like 12 or something.
12. Okay.
So that's where I
you were
started.
little then.
I was very small. Yeah,
Okay.
very
Wow.
small when I got in contact with like Japanese anime and stuff. So I didn't really. So this is where I kind of sound privileged, but I didn't really actually have to fight to come to Japan.
Ah, okay.
My mom seeing that I like Japanese anime, so one day she just asked, "Hey, do you want to go to Japan to study
Really?
university?" And I was like, "Okay."
Wait, so it was her idea.
It was
initially.
her idea.
Wow,
Yeah.
what
I
a
mean, I
supportive
wanted to
mom.
go, but before she's always been saying, "I'm not gonna send you out of the country. You're just gonna go into a Japanese. You're just gonna go into a Malaysian university. You're just gonna study in Malaysia." So I was like, "Okay, sure." Like I'm not like your parents say no. Who am I to say like anything to that?
Right.
So I was like,
I
okay,
can
cool,
relate.
blah blah blah. And then like suddenly one day she was like, "Do you want to go to Japan?" And I was like,
突然.
yeah, really. I was literally watching anime at that time. I still remember it. I was sitting in the living room. I was watching anime, and my mom was like, "Hey, oh, do you want to go to Japan to study? I was like, okay. And literally that's it.
I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
It's usually like
Yeah.
you have to convince your like parents
Or
to-
trick them.
Or trick
Right.
yeah. Here.
Like I did.
Yeah. So she knew that you were into Japanese culture.
Yes.
Maybe like a deep inside you wanted to go to Japan to study.
I didn't actually. I just wanted to travel here. Like,
Okay.
I think I was like,
Oh.
it's kind of like I was a very good kid. So whatever my mom told me, I was like, okay, sure, yeah, go. I'll just go with it. So in my brain, it's more of like, oh, I'm just gonna work hard and then like travel to Japan whenever I can, like every other person right
Yeah.
now. But yeah, she suddenly made this call, and I was like, okay, yeah, why not? And that's
Very
also when I started to interview, like do research because I wanted to do architecture.
Oh, okay.
I'm not an architecture.
Right.
I'm not an architect right now. There's a lot of reasons for that.
Right.
But I wanted to study architecture before, and then after like doing a little bit more research, I realized that there's actually a lot of star architects in Japan, like from Japan.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of like beautiful architectures.
What's his name? Kuma Kengo.
Like Gengo, and then Ando Tadao,
Ando
which is
Tadao,
more focused on concrete.
Right.
And then there's like a lot of like, just a lot to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons why it brought me here. And then before I studied Jap, okay, fast forward a little bit. So because that, I went to this like kind of like agency sort of
Sure.
thingy. So they basically group us to like they basically just get people who like from Malaysians essentially who wants to travel to like who wants to go to Japan to study. So they brought us together. I think we studied 3 months in Malaysia, Japanese.
Oh,
Right.
3 months, 3 or 4 months, I forgot. And then we came to Japan together. So
Oh, that's
How old
so
were you?
cool.
18?
I was 17, 18.
Right. Because I did
Wow.
something very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So like you like group kids
Exactly.
that wanted to like study in Japan together
Exactly.
and like do like a little camp.
Exactly.
Right?
Essentially,
like
it
a
was like that.
Not constant.
It was just like a
boot camp.
intensive camp.
Right. Intensive camp.
So was that your first time studying Japanese?
Yeah, seriously studying it.
Okay.
And
But
I was
you
really
knew
bad at it.
Japanese?
I didn't know. Like I was like, oh, I kind of want to learn, and I know I watched so much anime to a point where like I kind of know what is
Right,
what
right,
and
right,
here
right.
and here. But yeah, but when I went in, I was actually really bad at Japanese. Like we were like 2 classes. There was like one that was the good one, the intensive one,
Yeah.
and then there's another one that was the bad one, or like the not that fast one, which
Right.
only has like 9 people. Which actually, to be honest, I really liked it.
Right.
Like imagine we're getting like individual like attention while the big class are getting like, okay, do this, do that.
Yeah.
So to be
Right.
honest, I think I got very, very lucky. So yeah, we did that, and then after that, I came to Tokyo to study in a Japanese language school. So that language school prepared us for university.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was actually that hard to get in a Japanese university. It was so annoying because it's not just like you study Japanese.
Right.
You also have to study like math.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, to be honest, it makes sense, but it felt like you have to forget all the English because I studied all the maths, the science subjects in English.
Right.
So I have to forget that and relearn that all in Japanese.
Right.
That's so impressive.
all the terminology.
Yes. Thankfully, a lot of them are still in katakana,
True.
but
true,
still,
true.
like a lot of them were like, "Oh, what the f is that shit?"
Yeah, no.
What language school did you go to? What was the name of your language school?
ABK,
Oh,
Asia Bunka Kaikan.
Okay.
It's situated in, I think, in the middle of Sugamo and Komagome.
Komagome.
So in the middle of that, like really right next to like this very tall building.
Mm.
So yeah, it's right there, and yeah, that's basically where I was for the first year of Japan.
Okay. And after that, you got into a university.
I
in
got
Japan?
into Niigata University.
That's
how
where we
you
got
ended.
to.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So I was very lucky that I was also accepted to Meiji Daigaku. So Meiji and also Niigata. So originally I was like kind of sad because like Meiji is a private university.
It is.
So that means like I have to pay a lot of money, blah blah blah. So I was like, to be honest, like very very like I mean it's a good university.
It is a good
Right.
university.
It's still a very good university, but I was very bummed. I was like, oh, it's like life is gonna be difficult, blah 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 blah. So when I got when I received the acceptance letter for Niigata, I was like, damn, yes, let's go, because it's the tuition fee was like literally like more than half. Like
which one did you go in Niigata?
Niigata University.
Also the
like literally the
literally
yeah
the
the
Niigata
literal
Daigaku.
university Niigata Daigaku
すごい。
Literal University. So Niigata University, to make it like kind of like you can see it in numbers, so I only pay not only 50万yen, which is 500k k in Japanese yen for a year.
Right.
In Meiji I would have to pay 3 times,
Right.
Oh.
almost close to
my
3
gosh.
times.
Right. So it's kind of like going to like a state-funded university, like it's
Right.
University of Michigan, versus.
Is that where you went?
No. I went to University of Wyoming, which is a state-funded university, but not in Michigan. Versus like going to like Stanford or
Right.
Yeah, so you can kind of relate to Tom then, because you went to the U.S. in like the middle of nowhere, where
Right.
people probably like say like, why Niigata, did you
No,
get that a lot,
seriously.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
that a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
People are like, why? I was like, well, it's cheap.
Yeah, I think Niigata is Japanese equivalent of Wyoming.
Yeah, Japanese equivalent of
Like,
Wyoming.
It's pretty random,
It is.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful prefecture.
It's so not many people know this. It's like, so like how people go snowboarding and skiing, like the ski resorts. Like, so the first one is of course Hokkaido with the powdered snow and everything. No one can beat them. The second one is Nagano,
Yeah.
and then the third one is actually Niigata.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know
Me
that.
Yeah,
neither.
and then literally we have a Shinkansen that brings you directly to this one ski resort in Niigata. So
That's
there
awesome.
you go.
So are you very good at skiing?
Or
snowboarding?
Snowboarding, I like it. It's a good sport to do. It's definitely a very dangerous one.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I used to work at the ski resort that I
Okay.
mentioned, and so this is not a laughable matter, of course. But then sometimes we would go time in, and then we would hear like, oh yeah, like someone actually passed away, like on another ski resort because they like got they fell into like the snow, like
Right.
nose deep in,
Oh my god.
and then because like it's essentially just water,
Right.
like ice is essentially just water,
It could just
so they would
suffocate you to death.
so it's a not very safe sport, definitely, and a lot of people, for I don't know why, they don't wear helmets.
Right.
Everyone's like, oh, it's very cool to just wear like a beanie hat.
Yeah. that's
But
true.
it's actually really, it's better to wear a helmet,
Right.
so you can save yourself from concussion and everything.
Looking at you,
But yeah.
Australians. I was kidding.
Shit's the Australians.
But yeah, anyway, it's very
Anyway,
deep conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
So you went to a state. So it's a national funded university in prefecture of Niigata.
Yes,
And you spent 4 years there.
I spent 6 years there.
Okay. What did you study?
I studied architecture.
Oh, okay, you did
Oh.
study
Yeah, I
architecture.
did, but it's like I didn't. I'm not doing architecture right now. But
What are you doing now?
I'm doing marketing. It's close to sales. I'm doing sales more. So I studied for 4 years, and then I decided that might not be the best. Like, I was scared to go into like the workforce. I was like, oh, like, is this for me? I'm scared, blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, let me just like continue my master's. And then the moment I stepped into my master, I was like, oh, I regret this. I want to work.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't feel very productive, to be
I
honest.
see what you mean. Felt like
It-
you're spending money instead of making money.
Not just that, also it felt like because I was spending money to just retain that visa.
Right.
I wasn't learning anything because like when in my master's in at least in my university, I was doing research. So it was a lot of output instead of input,
Right.
which was like kind of different from like the 4 years that I did
Right.
in university. So I was like, I'm literally just paying for my visa at this point. So, and also it was just like kind of not the best time, like,
Right.
and also COVID. So
Right.
COVID.
So you finished your master's degree
Wow.
at the same university.
yeah.
So you spent 6 years in Niigata,
Wow.
and then what? I know, right?
I mean, I still went. Because it was actually COVID at that time, so I think I graduated in 2021. So that's when I needed to find like a job. So it was either to come to Tokyo or be in Niigata.
Right.
So like pandemic broke out, it kind of make no sense to be in Tokyo
Right.
because you're still gonna be in this small little bubble by yourself in your room. So I
Right.
was like, oh, why not just be in Niigata, where there's not really a lot of people, so I just don't even need to do anything. Like I could just walk out normally,
That's true.
and there's not any people.
That's true.
So I was social distancing myself in Niigata.
Yeah.
So I got a job in Niigata, so I worked there for like 2.5 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Really?
worked at a manufacturer, a Japanese manufacturer that did like that make like rulers or something.
Oh.
The most randomest things
What?
ever.
Were
Yeah.
you doing marketing for them?
I was doing sales. I went
Oh.
in as a sales
Sales.
position.
Gotcha.
So you spend
6
total
years.
how many? 6 years
Yeah.
in Niigata.
No, sorry. 8 years.
8 years,
Eight
right?
and a half, yeah.
Damn.
I know, that's what I said.
I mean,
You like Niigata.
it's very nice.
Okay.
And plus, like when you're a student, so I feel like if you are a university student in Tokyo, you tend to make a lot of friends outside of just
Right.
your school.
Right.
But then in Niigata, because we're literally a small little bubble, so everyone know each other,
True.
and then all like the izakaya, everything is literally
Right.
right by our school.
Right.
So I mean, there's of course a lot of drama from that, which is
Yeah.
fun to be honest. But because Niigata University itself, not just have like all the departments are literally in one
Right.
area. So you have like the Jinbungakubu, Hogakubu, Kogakubu, everything literally, like all the departments are in there. So because of that, like you have different types of people, and then you have different types of people to go drinking with.
Right.
And also you could drink up to like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and go to
Right.
someone's house and start drinking, like continue drinking. It felt like, it was really nice. Instead of like being in Tokyo and everyone's like, oh, we have like the last train, I have to
Yeah.
leave, blah, blah, blah. Because like the nicest and the best conversations all happen
Right.
at night.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
night
After
talks.
after the last train.
Yes.
Yeah, because everybody's committed to socialize, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to circle back a little bit because you said that you weren't good at Japanese at first. You were in the like
Yeah.
lesser good group.
Yeah.
So from there, you went to the language school. And how long was that language school?
A year.
It was just a year.
Mm.
After that year, what was your level, your Japanese level like?
And two.
N2.
Yeah.
After 1 year.
I mean, I'm also Chinese Malaysian, so I know Chinese. So I have the cheat code of kanji. So kanji
Okay.
was never a problem for me.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, like people say, "Oh, you're so like lucky and everything." I was like, "Well, yeah, I studied it when I was a kid. I suffered.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I suffered as a kid, like writing all that thing, crying in the middle of the night."
Crying, Connie.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Asian trauma.
So, but you were at N2 level.
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to speak? Like, how was your speaking confidence and stuff after that year?
After that year, to be honest, it wasn't the best, but I tried my best. I mean, I'm pretty good with languages, is
Yeah.
what I always like to think. And then I learn well when I listen to people, and I like to repeat a lot of random stuff.
Right.
And I have this very bad habit. If I look at the sign, like if let's say we're walking in the middle of Tokyo and there are signs all around, and if I'm really bored, I'll just like kind of read all this, like kind of like
Wakaru. I do the same
Right.
thing.
I do that too.
yeah, and I'll just read it out
In
loud.
English, not in Japanese.
That's just
I don't walk
fun.
around reading stuff in Japanese. Like, oh, ocha, you know. But I don't do that. But.
It's not even just like the words like oh matcha and I think not words. It's like the like the name of the shop
Right.
and something. I don't know. It's just I don't know why. It's just something I do.
No, I think I
Yeah.
can relate to it. Yeah, I mean,
I
I'm pretty
do
sure you
too.
can
Maybe
relate
it's a
to it, so,
language
right.
thing.
Yeah. And then because of that, like I've always been very good at listening and then like trying to speak and also say it out loud as closely as I can
Right.
to that.
Yeah.
So I've been, I think, during my first year when I was in university, it was good enough. But apparently, like my friend, I think said that I was very proper. Like my Japanese sounded really nice. Like これはやってもいいですか? Like very like very textbooksy.
Polite,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's like the level I'm at now.
But then like I even like my friends like because my classmates they've seen me all like over the years, so they told me that my Japanese got bad. Like
Oh.
yeah, but it's because like I started talking more like more like kucha.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah,
not very
yeah.
clean anymore. It's like I'm not trying to be like this
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
I'm
It's
just like
funny because I just made like a video skit on that. You know, because
Oh.
more you study, like rougher your
Right.
grammar gets,
Exactly.
and your like mannerism change. You
Exactly.
know, you start to like shorten your words, and you know, you be lazy.
Yeah.
Like in a good way.
Yeah, I think it's probably more native. You're
Right.
kind of sounding,
Right.
you're copying more like the native speakers that you're surrounded
Exactly,
by.
exactly.
That
So
makes sense.
they blame it on me. I blame it on my friends because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
copy
yeah.
whatever. I copy you guys. I didn't. You
It's
know.
your fault.
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
And I blame on her. Right.
Me for your bad English.
Yeah, you know,
No,
for my
no.
lazy English, I blame on you or
Oh my
like
gosh.
Americans.
Okay, so yeah, we also want to like give helpful tips to the viewers.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So is there anything that you kind of wish that you knew when you first started studying Japanese that you kind of in like hindsight look back and be like, oh, that would have made it easier or something like that?
Don't try to. If you do try to practice or learn Japanese through using anime,
Yeah.
try and find anime that's actually speaking nicely, speaking
Ah,
correctly. So
okay.
one of the things that I did before is there's a bunch of animes out there. So there's this one anime that's so like rewatchable because it's just full of like weird jokes. But the way they speak was really, really nice. It's like kore wa kore nantoka nantoka. Like it wasn't very like rough. It wasn't like seinen. It wasn't like a very, how would you say, action.
Right.
So because
okay.
I basically just watched that and I just like try my best to just like keep it in and I just say it out loud. And so because of that, I feel like my Japanese wasn't very rough from
Right.
the start.
Okay, okay.
So because like you will get rough like eventually.
Sure.
Like that will
Looking
happen if
forward
you're
to
in
it.
Japan. But at the start, if you don't know the correct grammars and everything and you try to mash it up, it's just gonna confuse you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, don't try to like go too far ahead. Try to like, if that's your level, then acknowledge that this is the level I am.
Okay.
And just like, you know, stick to the things that you are doing.
That's really good advice. What was that anime that you watched?
I kind
Yeah,
of
what was that?
forgot. Like it's like it's like I kind of forgot, to be honest.
okay,
Like
okay.
but it's just like a high school like anime.
Oh.
Like just
Funner.
like kind of like, yeah, to be honest, I don't really remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see it in my brain, but I just don't
You
know
can
the
visually
name.
remember,
Yeah.
but
I know what you mean.
I watch it so much that yeah.
If it comes to mind, just like say it.
Yes, definitely.
So how did you watch anime? Did you watch it with like in Japanese with Japanese subtitles? Were you pausing it when you heard a new word or a new sentence that you wanted to like? Were you shadowing? Like what was your, or were you just like casually watching it and like?
Back then, I assume.
yeah,
I
when you were
assume,
studying.
Right.
When I was studying, I would, as I said, I would find something that's rewatchable multiple times. Like it doesn't matter how much times I watch, it's still interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first I will definitely do it with. I don't do dub. This is probably controversial, but I just cannot do dub in anything. Yeah. Not just like, even for like books or anything. Like as if it's translated, I'm like, I don't want to.
I can understand.
Yeah, I think
that,
me too.
yeah.
I think anyone who reaches at least like an intermediate level of a
Right,
language can
it's like,
understand that.
But so I just kind of don't do dub. So I always do subtitles. So I would do that first to just, you know, enjoy.
Yeah.
See if I really like it, see how it is, and then after that, once I'm like, okay, this is good, I'll just kind of like rewatch it again, and then like, you know, because the subtitles already here, I already
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen. I
Right.
already know what's happening. I'm just rewatching because I want to, and then just like slowly like that, like it just kind of goes into your brain. Like certain words will go into your brain. Certain ways of putting like sentences together will also go into your brain, and slowly like that. And then like the third or fourth watch, I'll be just like doing something random and just having it by the side, and then just like kind of like keeping it in. So one thing is I'm lazy, so I don't pause.
Okay.
Like even when I was like reading books and everything, I would just kind of like, okay, I think this might be this,
Right.
and I just go with the flow.
Right.
And then if I see it often, like
Yeah.
I have 2 rules on that. If I see you often enough, that means like your importance, and I really don't get it, then I'll like look it up. But if I see you often and I kind of get it, I'm not gonna do anything.
That's true.
So.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So when you said you were reading subtitles, Japanese subtitles.
On English, and then after that's
Oh, and then
Japanese.
after
Okay.
Japanese. Okay, yeah. I think that's similar to what I do. I was doing the English ones. Now I'm like watching things with only Japanese
Right.
subtitles. But yeah, I am pausing it and like trying to like whenever I come across a sentence that's
Right.
like new. But it is tiring.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I would always say, I mean, even back then, I have this mentality of like, if I don't know it, that probably means it's not really important.
Yeah.
So I just can go with it. And then if I keep seeing it like often, as I said, I might
Yeah.
check it out. But sometimes at that point, I'll kind of already make sense of what is actually going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Okay. This is good advice for me because I think I'm at the level where you were like at the textbook Japanese, where your
Right.
Japanese is overly polite, and mine is so overly polite that when I'm in like friend situations, I'm like so embarrassed to speak Japanese because I know it's awkward. So I only like speak Japanese if I'm in like formal situations
No.
where like
Oh
no.
wait, this is what like okay. I remember you guys talking about this on the podcast a bit, and I was like, no, like you just say it and make your mistakes, and
I
then
should
like
do it, yeah.
let it be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good advice. I think it definitely there's like a confidence thing that goes with
Yeah.
it.
I feel like, to be honest, like make your mistake, and then of course like you do need like a certain part of like kind of like okay,
Sure.
like this is easy to make mistakes or anything, but just make the mistake, and then if someone says it to you, be like, oh, thank you, and then just move on.
Yeah,
Like instead of like, oh, so sorry, blah 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 blah. Like
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
is like sometimes like with like people who are doing in English, like who are doing it reversely as well.
Mm-hmm.
They try to like overly like apologize for it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it's fine, we can just move over. It's like it was just not, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
so
because
right.
if you think about it, like that's kind of thinking is kind of weird because like nobody speaks like perfectly string together
Exactly.
sentences in the first place.
Right.
Like, but like when you start speaking in a foreign language, you know that kind of like mindset kind of kicks in.
Right,
suddenly,
right.
Like you become like perfectionist.
Right.
But like it makes no sense because you don't even do that in your native tongue.
Exactly.
Right, that's so true.
Exactly.
Make your mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make
that's
it,
really
and
good
then
advice.
if like someone like corrects you more like enough, you're like, oh, might be time to actually
Yeah.
correct
I should
yourself.
fix that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, also, if you're speaking in a second language, you know, you're learning somebody else's language. So
Right.
you're making mistake on behalf of somebody else. So it was like, you know, it's like you should be proud of it, not, you know, being apologetic, you know, instead. So
nicely spoken. And also one way to do it, one way to like also have a fun of it out of it, if they're like, oh no, it's like this. I did it in university, and I would ask them, okay, why is it like that? And half of the time Japanese people can't answer it,
Yeah.
so
Right,
it's
because we
fun.
don't think
It's
about it,
very
right.
fun.
That's
And you're like, okay, so like if you say it's not like that, and then you can't give an explanation, maybe I'm the correct one. And then if they can give an explanation, then yeah, sure. But if they can't, then who's to say I'm
Yeah.
not wrong?
So language is, you know, interesting how like like everything is in the gray zone, right? I mean,
Right.
Gen Z is like inventing, maybe like Gen Alpha now, but like everybody's like inventing new
New
words and
words.
vocabularies every single day, and what's right and wrong, like it kind of like fluctuates every day.
totally,
so.
and it changes based on where you are and
Yeah.
when you are.
That's true.
So I feel like the next question was what motivated you to keep learning your Japanese. I feel like we kind of know that, but maybe let's ask it anyway. What was your motivation to become Jozu?
To keep up with, to be honest, at the start it was just for survival.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I was suddenly put into Japan. Well, I came here by myself, but I was put in Japan, and then it was a point where I couldn't really have any conversation with
Right.
anyone. And the only thing I think I felt very happy when I could go to McDonald's. And back then, everyone was like Japanese. Like, you know, like right now, there's a lot of foreigners, and even
Right.
Japanese people could actually speak English. Back then, they would just smile at you, be like, "What do you want?" And then I'm like, "I want this." They were like, "Huh?" And you're like, So I think like back then, I just like, it took me a while, but I was really proud of myself for even being able to say "kore." 4個ください or 2個ください. And like it's like that, and just like slowly from there. So yeah, like I think I did it because of I needed to survive.
Right.
And then when I moved into university, I needed to understand everything else, and also I have to make connections with people so that I can get all my past year like the test thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who say like, I mean, university is all about just like studying is just
Not
lying, because you also need like the connections to get all the past year papers,
Right.
to kind of like, oh, like, hey, can you do this, can you do that, which class should I take, everything. If you fail that, you're not gonna pass.
Wow, I think that's
So,
a
yeah.
specifically Japan university thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to like do that at all in the
Yeah.
US. I mean, maybe you need like a letter of recommendation here
Yeah.
and there, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's as important as Japan.
So yeah, like basically survival.
Okay,
Essentially.
so I guess in the beginning, your like sole purpose is to survive, right? Because when you first touch down in a foreign country, you start living, then you have to survive. You have to keep swimming. But like after a year, I mean, for you,
Right.
you've gotten to what N2 level after a year.
Yeah.
So that's not your purpose is not survival anymore. So like
I felt like it still was because
Yeah.
I needed to become. So I had this phase in my life where I wanted to be part of the Japanese community because I was in the, as I said, I wasn't in Tokyo where you
Yeah.
could find like foreigners, friends, and everything.
Mm.
I was in the middle of nowhere in Niigata.
Right.
So there are foreigners. I learned that in my second year. So, but in my first year, I was like in the Japanese. All my classmates were Japanese. My teacher was also Japanese, and that class that says it's in English is of course Japanese.
Yeah.
Like they lied all that stuff.
yeah, I went to high school in Michigan, so I can relate to that
Right.
hard.
Yeah, I can't even like I didn't go to school in Japan, but I first started out in Kochi,
Right.
Kochi University,
Yeah.
Kochi Prefecture, which is super inaka, and like I didn't know foreigners existed either until like a year after, and they all lived in Ehime, so I had to like travel an hour where
right.
Shota's from.
Yeah.
But okay, I had another question. Okay, so Niigata, was it? Do you feel it was a good experience, like first being put in Niigata, like for your Japanese level? Do
It
you
was.
think like it would have been harder in Tokyo?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think I had the best of both worlds because, so even though so like in Malaysia, so like this is like completely different from like English, but it's completely different from Japanese. So back in Malaysia, we have something called Manglish, or like if you're from Singapore, so Singlish. So we mix it up. Like we talk very broken, like everything. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
why you do this, why you do that. Like you can hear it immediately. But I try to like have that more international, I think, accent or something.
Yeah.
So when I came to Japan, I was in Niigata. So I had as I said, like the Japanese community that I was trying to get into
Right.
to get my Japanese like kickstarted and make it more like sound more native, makes more sense for like my classmates and all my friends. And because we also have a very small but still quite relative enough foreigner exchange students like a community, so I would be speaking English there. So to be honest, I think my English and my Japanese got really like good when I was in like Niigata University.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had like best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's such an important tip. Like,
Right.
if you are coming to Japan and you want to study Japanese and you want to get good at it, don't come to Tokyo directly. Like, definitely like have an experience in the countryside first. I feel like even Kyoto was different. Like, especially I was living in Kyoto during COVID when there was no tourists.
That must
so-
have been so nice. I wanted to. I wanted to go to Kyoto.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like COVID, and it was like the moment they were like, oh, should we open it or should we not open it? Should we open it or should we not open it? And I was begging them, like, I was like, oh, please don't. I was going there in like I think October,
Yeah.
and they opened in October.
No.
And I was like, no people, Kyoto. I mean, of course, like, we love people that come, like we love all the
Right,
tourists
yeah.
and
Please
everything,
come.
please. But it's like I was like a month later. I
Yeah.
could have gotten
Really?
that seriously, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I think my Japanese level when I came to Tokyo, I felt like it was like don, just like getting worse and
Right.
worse because the opportunities to speak Japanese were all of a sudden like gone.
Right.
So I was going to Japanese language school in Kyoto, so I was speaking Japanese like every day, like all day, and then because it was COVID and there were no tourists, everyone in Kyoto just they knew you lived there if you were a foreigner. Like, so they spoke to you in Japanese directly. Like no one was speaking to us in English. And then when I came to Tokyo, I now work remotely for an international company where our company's language is English. So I'm speaking English every day at work. And I also work remotely, like I'm in this room. So I don't like have anyone to talk to besides like my boyfriend who's Japanese, but he's really good at English. So,
It makes no sense for you to speak Japanese.
Yeah.
but I do like have a lot of motivation. Like I want to connect with my boyfriend's family, for example,
right,
and
right.
like
Yeah, motivation is definitely very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What motivates you right now? Now that you're fluent, but you're still like motivated enough to keep going with that.
Oh no, I gave up.
Oh, you gave
He's
up.
not.
Like
He's not.
I mean, I've reached this point where if there's a new word, I'll just be like, Gen Z.
So you so you in passive learning.
Right.
phase.
So
Okay.
I've reached this point where if it's important enough, I'll learn it. If it's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
then
Are you at that same like stage?
Well,
You're not
learning-
actively
learning
studying.
English is more like my hobby, right? So, and unlike you, I use English for work, and
Oh, you do use English at work.
Yeah,
I
work
didn't
for
know that.
I work for an American company.
But I thought I don't know.
All the documents are shared in English. All the
Oh,
meetings
okay.
are most of the meetings are in English, and all the other communication like Slacks and stuff like that is in English. So I have to I cannot forget
Yeah.
how to speak English and how to read
yeah.
English. So like I have to like keep working on it, but like I do enjoy it. But like we talked about, like our motivation change throughout
Yeah.
the time, and and I think it's okay. But passive learning is also it's good.
I feel
It
like
means you're comfortable.
in Kyoto and Kochi, I had a lot of Japanese friends who didn't speak English, but in Kyoto and
yeah.
Tokyo, literally all my Japanese friends are better at English than I am at
Right.
Japanese. Like Exhibit A. So, yeah, I think, Niigata, Kochi,
Yeah.
Michigan.
So I'm asking you two, but like, do you think social life is better in rural prefectures, or social life is better in Tokyo?
Rural.
I think Tokyo.
Oh,
Really? Oh well,
you go first.
why?
Because back in rural, like back when I was in Niigata, because besides school is basically easy to like literally that's like a cheat code like to make friends and
Yeah.
everything. But once I kind of graduated and I was in like a workplace, doing work and everything, so it's like the only people you really meet is your coworkers or your friends' friends. So if there's a lot of like friends and everything, then it's good. Like you get to have more of a social, like you can talk more with people and everything. But it got so lonely. Like there will be nights where I'm like, I'm bored. I didn't make plans with anyone. I was like, I just like blah, blah. And then like it got bored, and I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like everything. So, to be honest, like I feel like socializing and everything got better when I'm in Tokyo.
Okay.
Back in Niigata, it was just like, of course you could be like, oh, you could reach out to this, but you could reach out to that. But then like it's just like, I don't know why, it just didn't felt right.
Yeah,
It didn't felt like some people they're like, I don't know why the people who went from like Tokyo, they are from Niigata.
Right.
They went to Tokyo and then they come back from Niigata. For some reason, they are either very very excited about life,
Right.
or they're very like motivated to do something like everything. And I'm of course motivated to do something as well, but I like to do it more chill,
Right.
more relaxed.
Right.
And for some reason, like the vibe wasn't just like it wasn't just like right. So
I
for like
see.
it. Like you just don't have that much choice in like in Niigata or like in like outside of Tokyo, but in Tokyo you have a lot of choices.
Right.
True.
You get to be like, oh yeah, I'm not really like I don't vibe with you, but we're still like maybe 2 stations away. Sure, why not? Like sometimes, but some people they're like, oh wait, we vibe well. It's still like a few trains away, so you can meet out every single week if you want or everything. But right now, like back in Niigata, it was like no.
Oh, okay.
I was meeting with the same people, which I love them, of course.
Okay.
But yeah, it got to be tiring if they're busy.
Gotcha.
Okay. And what do you have to say to that?
Yeah, exactly.
No, those are all really good points. But I think for me, so I've had 3 experiences where I have like Tokai, Tokyo, and then I have like a more mid-sized city, which is Kyoto, and then I have the rural Kochi. And I've only been in Tokyo for 1 year, so I have to say that. And I find it a little hard to make friends because of how big it is and how busy everyone is all the time.
Yeah, it's
I find it
true.
easy to network.
Ah,
So
yeah.
a lot especially through Instagram, like it's the way like we
Right,
found you.
right.
you can find a lot of like people like posting online, and like you like, oh, I think I could vibe with this person, let me message them and like see if they want to hang out. And like it's easy to make acquaintances, but usually everyone lives so far and everyone's so busy, it's hard to like have consistent, I find it a little hard to find
No,
like
it's
people
true.
who I
It's
consistently
true.
can hang out with. And whereas in Kyoto, everything's in biking distance. Like the whole city is
True.
really small.
Compact, yeah.
It's not, there's buses, but like people just ride their bikes everywhere. And so like if you want to hang out, we had a group that would meet every Friday because we can easily just like ride our bikes, park, and the bike parking there is so much easier. There's so much free bike parking. Like almost every shop will let you park their bike in front of your like shop. So it was a lot easier to make friends and have like a consistent, close community, build a community. I found in Kyoto is probably the best mid-sized city, I'd say, it's number one. And then with Kochi, because there's so few foreigners, they kind of all gather. And they have like a group that consistently.
They had no choice.
Yeah, and they
A
almost
lot of
become
drama,
like
but
a lot of drama.
but-
But they kind of became like a family, and there's
Right.
also a lot of Japanese people who are like interested in like kokusai teki like things, so they would like join, and so we got to speak, and everyone who lived in the countryside spoke Japanese because like you have to survive.
True.
So there was a lot of like Japanese and English, and it was like a really good group. Maybe I just got lucky, my Shikoku Ehime group, I don't know, but Tokyo, yeah, I am finding it a bit of a struggle. So
And I get what you mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's also why when I moved to Tokyo, I chose to be in a share house.
Right.
yeah,
So-
I wanted to talk about the share
Right,
house.
yeah.
So how is your share house? Like, what's your experience living there?
Right now, it's got a little bit, like, how would I say it? A little bit tiring,
Okay.
to be honest.
Mm.
But, I mean, overall, I would recommend anyone who, if they're coming to Tokyo, very fresh, it would be easy to go into a share house.
Okay.
For sure.
Especially for foreigners, because the application took like less than a week.
Wow.
Literally, that was like, he's so easy, he was so nice, like, and I really needed to like get a place immediately, less than a month. So it was really the best choice for me to do. And after that, I met a lot of people in the share house, mostly foreigners that are like looking to like have that connections. Because I live very close to like the city center, so a lot of the Japanese who are there are really just there for the easy access.
Sure.
So they're not really very sociable. They're like, but if you're okay with just like socializing with like friends and everything, it doesn't matter like what country they're from, then like a share house is definitely really, really well. Sometimes you can get lucky, of course, like have like Japanese friends and also foreigner friends. But for me, it was okay. It was enough.
Okay. And how many people are in your share house?
21.
Okay. Oh, that's
it's
a
a
good
big one.
amount.
So it's a big house, and then we just like kind of live in it, and then we have all of us have our rooms, and then so our rooms are basically our space, and no one can technically come in.
Okay.
And then after that, like the toilets, the kitchen, everything is basically shared.
Is it a borderless house?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oak house?
No.
Okay. There's a few companies
Yeah,
that you can like.
Yeah,
get
there's a
share
lot.
houses.
There's a lot, to be honest. I think I've shared mine here and there, but through DMs mostly,
Okay.
because it's very easy to pinpoint where I live.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I do want to share it one day when I move out, which is
Right.
probably maybe next year.
Okay.
But it's very easy to pinpoint where I live if you
No,
know the company, and then you know where I've been like kind of moving around. And so like it's kind of scary. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna refrain from putting that on the internet until
Okay.
I move out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially you're making content.
Right.
now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really good share house experience when I first came to Tokyo too.
Right.
I really recommend it for people moving here. I loved it. I actually wish I stayed longer. I just did it because I needed to move here immediately.
Exactly.
And like, I just stayed in there while I was looking for this apartment. But I wish I stayed longer because the rent is cheap. One, two, the connections. Like I get so lonely. I need to get a cat or something. I get so lonely working from home. But back when I lived in the share house, like there was a lot of other people who were working from home, and like we had like a co-working space and garden, and it was like we could like chat while we were working. It was so nice. So definitely check out share houses, and the share houses are nice.
They are. I
Yeah.
do have one thing to say, because one of our new person that she just got in, and she said that because our share house is relatively half Japanese, half foreigners,
Yeah.
and so half of the Japanese people keep to themselves. They don't come out.
Is that by design? So like, do they have like 50% Japanese ratio
To
on
be
purpose?
honest, I don't think so.
Okay,
I
so
don't
it's
think
just like
so.
by nature.
It just by
It just
nature,
happened?
yeah, it
Okay.
just happened. And then, how would you say it? Because like a lot of times, like the foreigners would leave at very weird stages in life,
Yeah.
like maybe like a September or like June or something. So, but foreign like Japanese people would always move in like according to like the time,
Right.
unless you're
Yeah.
trying to like change job, so it's different.
Yeah. I actually had a different experience. My share house was 70% Japanese,
Whoa.
and then like 30%
70%
foreigner.
Japanese.
And everyone was super mixed.
Ah.
Like I actually, that was like, it was so nice for me because coming from Kyoto, I wanted to keep my
Right.
Japanese level up. It was really good. We would have board game nights and like all
Right.
this stuff. And but I think because it was in the countryside of Tokyo, that's maybe what
yeah,
made
Where
it
was it?
different. It was in Fusa.
Husa.
Yeah, it's super far.
Yeah.
It's like an
Fusa.
hour from here.
I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, it's in Tokyo technically, but it's in like
Ah.
the countryside.
But
of
outside
Tokyo.
of 23,
Yeah.
like
Right.
the central ward.
If you're more outside of like the city center, it's because they're staying there for the purpose of being
Yeah.
able to
Right.
connect with people. But if you're inside like the city area, they're staying there because of the convenience.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
my area literally has like my share house has a big ass like have a very big living room
Okay.
where
Like
we have a very
common
big
shared space.
yeah, a very big living room, a dining area, and then literally I would just work from the dining area, and then there's no one would come in. Like I would be because I think some people are doing remote working, but they would just do it in their rooms, and I'm like I paid for this brand. I'm doing it in the kitchen. I'm doing it in the dining room
But doesn't
with the
it
TV
kind of
on.
like defeats the purpose of
They
like living in a share house like that though?
exactly. That's what
Yeah.
one of my new housemate thought as well. She's like, why would you be here
Right.
and take up the space? But to them, they don't necessarily like some people don't necessarily want to communicate with people. They just want to be in the presence of people.
Yeah.
Like they just want to have people around, and also with the rent that we're paying in that area, it's really really cheap. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a good deal.
yeah, a lot of good deals. You have a very big space if you need it,
Right.
and then yeah, it's very good. You don't have to commute very long, and on the weekends you can just walk to wherever you want. So.
Okay.
I also want to talk a little bit about your job now. So you have a different job than
Yes.
in Niigata. You're not doing tech. You're not doing English teaching.
Yeah.
You're doing something totally different. So what is your job here in Tokyo?
So I basically do global sales. And to be honest, if I really wanted to, of course I can just go and do sales.
Yeah.
But when I really look at myself and I think what is my strength and everything is I really like to talk, as you
Right.
can
Perfect.
Yeah,
tell.
yeah.
I really like to
Perfect.
talk, and I really want to, be able to talk with people in different languages. So I speak English, Chinese, Malay, and Malay is my weakest, to be honest.
Okay.
And also Japanese.
Yeah.
And so when I was trying to find a job after graduating, of course, like the first idea was, oh, maybe I can just become an architect.
Yeah.
But I did some internships and everything. It was really, really boring.
Okay.
I was stuck in a cubicle, cutting some like stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's not the life I want.
Can't talk.
Yeah, can't talk. Literally just listening to music. Like it was just so boring. Like time passes so slow.
Okay.
So when I was talking to my friend, she was like, "Oh yeah, like my company actually wanted to hire someone to do global sales."
Right.
So that's when I knew that actually like global sales, like there's this position that you talk internally in Japanese to like the people internally, but then when you're facing customers, you're talking in
Right.
English.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh wait, that's really nice. That's actually a job that I would really want to do. So I applied to that, and yeah, I got it. It was pretty okay. And then after that, I switched jobs to Tokyo because it was kind of time to move away from the countryside. I come here for more networking, for more opportunities in Tokyo.
Okay. So you're with the same company that you started this company in Niigata?
No, it's a completely new.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
okay.
It's a different company.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
What field is it in?
The first one or the second one?
The second one. Your current job.
So the first one was in a manufacturer, like it was a manufacturer.
Right.
The second one is in marketing.
Right.
So I'm still doing sales, but I'm selling talents,
Right.
essentially. Talents and also like advertisements, depending on the
Okay.
situation.
Sure.
Okay, so that's awesome. So I guess you would say you got your second job through networking, a friend.
I got it through LinkedIn.
Oh, you got it through LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, people are like, oh, where should I find it? Like, I get questions like that all the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
as well. And the first one, to be honest, if you graduated from a Japanese university, literally there's so much like opportunities for you to do, especially if you do actually graduate from a Japanese university, you're able to speak Japanese and English
Right.
or whatever language you're able to speak. Then you can just like try and find companies that wants to hire people who are like that.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people they would do like the teaching job because like it's easier to come into Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like literally people like companies are literally finding foreigners to
Right.
find it. But once you're in here, you can actually get a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the route that I took because when I came here, I was kind of similar to you. My degree was in like medical science, so then
Right.
I didn't end up going to med
Right.
school, and then I ended up actually going to culinary school. So I had like a culinary degree, and then I taught English for a year. It was like a good foot in the door into Japan.
Right.
And yeah, people often are asking me like how I got my job, but mine was through like a word of mouth. Like a friend
Right.
had introduced it to me, so I never know what to say. As I'm like just like meet people, make friends, and like see what opportunities come up. But LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Okay.
So basically a recruiter reached out to me.
Right.
Okay.
It
And
happens
they're
all
like,
the time
yeah,
on
it happens
LinkedIn,
all
yeah.
the time. To be
Okay.
honest, like all the HR recruiters, they are looking for people.
Mostly on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, because they know like oh if because the reason why is because these people they know that the the applications or what their hirings
Mm.
is looking for someone who is international or
Right.
is looking for someone who is able to speak English as
Right.
well. So that's why they would go on LinkedIn because
I
the
see.
Japanese like recruiters they know that that's where all the foreigners are.
Right.
Makes sense.
Or Japanese people that are multilingual.
Yes.
Or
Right.
multicultural.
Mm,
Because
mm.
there's an application called Wanetly. That's like a Japanese version of LinkedIn.
Right.
So like if
Oh.
you are specifically looking for Japanese speaking Japanese workforce, then like people go there, and if you look for like international labor force, then people usually go to LinkedIn. Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
that's the distinguishing.
Right.
Yeah, I think people probably on LinkedIn they can see that you already live in Japan, so they don't have
Right.
to worry about the visa situation.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you want to, like, I would say, to be honest, instead of trying to find a job by yourself, just reach out to a recruiter
Yeah.
and
that's
then just
true.
like let them, like, just like, oh, this is my resume, please help me.
Mm.
And a lot of times, like, the things that they do, you kind of feel like, wait, do I not have to pay? But actually, you don't.
Yeah,
Right.
the company pays
Yeah,
for
the
like
company
yeah,
pays.
yeah. That's really cool.
So
That's
that's
good
why,
advice.
like, literally, like, if you're not really sure what to do, just reach out to a recruiter,
Yeah.
send your resume in, and be like, hey, can you please help me? If they say no, sorry, we are not in this area, then you can go out to
Right.
reach out to another recruiter.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
recruiters are incentivized by the number of people they help hire.
Exactly.
So they're gonna be happy if you reach out to them rather
Yeah.
than them reaching
Yeah,
out to
to
you.
you.
So, yeah, you know.
Yeah, and this
Looking for
is
a job.
definitely like we don't really have this kind of concept in the U.S. Like recruiters, like I think it
Right.
kind of exists, but not really.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I didn't know about recruiters when I was living overseas, so it's good to know.
I mean, obviously, Japan is going through like massive labor shortage in pretty much
Right.
every single field.
Exactly.
So, generally speaking, if you reach out to them, they're gonna be like very, very happy.
They are.
That, yeah, they're looking for a new
Yeah.
job. So.
Like if you are able to speak Korean right now, especially
yeah.
because like people want like Korean speaking employees because like the Korean market is right now so huge as
Right.
well. Like Chinese has always been there, and there's a lot of like companies that are looking to invest into like Vietnamese like employees as well. So yeah, there's a lot of like just a lot of chances. You just need to like know who to talk to
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
and
for
everything.
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you can come here first for school, that's probably
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
that's really
You
good.
can make connections and network and improve your language skills. Okay, so I also want to talk about a little going back again to when you first came to Japan.
Yeah.
Did you have any culture shocks?
Oh, yeah.
Because you were in Niigata.
Oh yeah, okay. Give me a sec.
Okay.
Culture shocks, like because it's been so long.
I know it's hard
And
to
I'm like,
remember.
wait, culture shocks. I mean, I came from Asia, so I came
Right.
from Malaysia, so like not a lot of things was like, and also I watch a lot anime,
Right.
so I knew a lot of things. It was like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be like that. This is supposed to be like this. I think the most culture shock thing felt was like when I was trying to be with like my Japanese friends. They
Yeah.
don't tend to like accept me that easily.
Ah.
It took me a lot of like making friends basically. Making friends with Japanese people was literally just the hardest thing I've done, and I kind of like, I think I even made a reel. I'm like, I'm just kind of give up.
Oh
I
yeah.
gave out a little bit essentially, but of course I do have like some Japanese friends
Right.
that I'm like reaching out to, but I feel like in terms of how easy it is to make friends with.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. This is future Amber here, just stopping by to apologize for the drop in audio quality. Unfortunately, our mics cut out here without us noticing. So yeah, I hope you can still enjoy the rest of the episode.
Japanese people, that's probably the most like culture shock that
Okay.
I've gotten. Because for like foreigners, like for Malaysians and everything, you just drink, you just have fun, we're friends.
Right.
But then with Japanese people, we're like, mata itsuka ao ne.
Yeah,
And we just
yeah,
like
yeah.
disappear or something.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to, because in America the mindset is pretty much the opposite. You know, like if you're a friend and if your friend's friend, then,
Yeah.
you know, we're friends,
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of thing. You
It
know,
was so easy.
I guess in Japan, we make very like a solid like a circle or bubble
Yes.
or whatever it's called, and you tend to like stay within that.
You don't burst the bubble.
You don't burst the bubble usually. But I think Japanese people are also struggling.
They are.
You know, so like
They are.
I think if
It's
you
so
like
interesting.
reach out to them, I think they're gonna be happy as well. So
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's why too. When we have like that picnic
Mhm.
event,
Yeah,
for it,
yeah.
which we're gonna invite you to after.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Japanese people like were like so excited about it that I didn't expect. They're like, oh my god, yeah, because I think they really want to make friends and connect with people,
They
but it
do.
is hard because, yeah, that bubble was a culture shock for me as well.
Right.
Like my boyfriend, who I've been dating for over a year, I haven't met his friends. Like,
Oh yeah, that's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
That's the thing. That's a big thing.
yeah, that's such culture shock for me.
That's
like he
true.
went to a wedding and like I don't come as his date. You don't bring dates to weddings in Japan. That was culture shock.
Oh wait, I have another one.
Oh,
Okay,
yes, tell
so
us, tell
I've
us.
not really been. I've never been to a wedding.
Okay.
So, but
like ever.
a Japanese wedding.
Oh,
never.
Japanese would.
But I put out something and I got trashed by the internet.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
On the internet. So I put out saying that classmate of mine, which I'm not really close with.
Right.
We had like a little bit falling out or something.
Oh.
But so he invited me, like basically not invited me. He basically threw like a
So like a mass invitation.
invite into the group, and it's like, hey, whoever wants to come can come, blah blah blah. And it's on a Friday as well, so it's on a working day. So I was like, oh, like I don't think we're like that good buddy, and also it's a massive invite. You're not inviting me
Right.
personally.
Right.
So I'm of course not gonna go, and I have to pay the samayan.
Right.
And so I put it out on Threads. I was like, oh, if you're not very close to the couple, financially, it'd probably be very smart to not go to reject it.
I agree.
And like the internet flamed me for
Oh,
that. They were
really?
like, yeah, this, that. And I was like, guys, you need to read it, like what I'm saying. But yeah, I think the whole having to pay the samayan for the what's that? For
Oshugi.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh wait, why am I?
It's kind of like a celebration money.
Yeah, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
you have to pay a samman and like as a guest when you go to a wedding to the couple. It has to be all in like new notes too.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't
that's
even just like
true.
give them like the money that you have. You
Right.
have to like go to the bank and like go out of your way to like get special new crisp bills.
Right. But it's an old custom,
It
so
is.
like it's not very applicable to like modern day wedding, especially in the city. I feel like.
So yeah, that's what like everyone flamed me for it. They're
Oh,
like,
wow.
you've never been to one, so why are you talking blah blah blah? I was like, yeah, I just said that it's like because I don't really have that much Japanese friends, so and I'm also like not at the age where I'm at the age where everyone starts like
getting
getting
married.
married,
Yeah.
but like this is the first one I've gone,
Mm.
so I was like, yeah, like I don't know, like
You want to make it special, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be your first
Yeah, like,
Japanese
I
wedding.
want
it-
Japanese.
Yeah, you don't want to go to
like,
just like
yeah.
a acquaintance, not birthday, wedding. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it's a birthday, that's different. But if it's
Right,
like
right,
a wedding, and like I literally said that if it's someone who I really care about, I don't like that samayan is literal cheap. Like
Right.
it's very, very
Yeah,
cheap.
yeah.
I would just give it. But if it's like
like someone you don't know, you don't really like, and then imagine this: you not only do because I don't have a suit. I work from home.
Right.
I don't have a proper suit for that, so I have to get a new suit, and I also have to get the the 3万円, and then I also have to pay for the 2次会, 3次会,
Yeah.
and then like if I was in Niigata, that means I have to also travel. So I'm like, no.
Yeah. So people on the internet got mad because they thought you were just talking about the money aspect, but actually like they kind of missed the context.
Yeah,
so it's like,
oh, it's more than that.
Yeah, I don't really know them to spend like basically I could go back home with that money.
Right. Yeah.
Literally. So why would I spend it on
So
someone?
lucky. I can't do that.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
true.
essentially that's like I think the recent culture shock. That's
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. The next thing I wanted to talk about was like, so this is totally changing the subject, so I have no way to like segue nicely into this.
Good.
But now, so the way that we found you is through your content on Instagram.
Yeah.
So how long have you been making content?
Last year, 2023. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
About a year ago.
About a year around, I think, 2002, maybe around March or something, March or May.
You've only been doing that for a year?
Almost a year. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Why did you start making content?
I started it because I look back and I felt that I don't have any pictures or videos of myself doing anything.
Right.
So I talk about all this like, oh yeah, I was in Niigata, I was doing this, that. I have nothing to prove.
Right.
I have nothing.
Didn't
I mean, I
happen.
believe you.
Yeah.
But,
you can't believe me if I
But
say
you have
it.
nothing to look back on.
Exactly.
Okay, I see. So you've been making content for a year, and your main platform is Instagram?
Yes, Instagram. I mean, I post literally everywhere, but Instagram is where I, like, talk normally to my friends as well. I use Instagram more than I use Line.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Line it's good for business. It's good for like if you want to like have like a very businessy interaction. But on Instagram, it's like, oh, like I see you posting big stories, I can reach out to you, and so it's easier. I like Instagram more than TikTok or like everything else.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like I was using Line a lot more like 3 years ago, and now like recently everyone's starting to use Instagram as like the main point of like contact. So what is your content about?
It's mostly just like lifestyle. Like I say lifestyle, but it's just me recording what I'm doing, and just like sometimes saying, oh yeah, this is what I did. This is what I did. I feel like sometimes why are people watching it? But they would be like, oh, it's because you look nice. I was like, okay, thank you.
I don't know about that. Like it's very gravitating because the approach you, or the perspective you have on stuff, especially like coming from like a Japanese perspective, is very like fresh and an interesting perspective you bring to the table, and the way you articulate in the video is, I don't know, it's very calming. And entertaining at the same time, right?
That's what people say. It's like, oh, you have a very calming voice, and I like to say. I mean, right now you're listening to it right now, and I talk fast. I blah 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 everything, and I get more upbeat. But when I'm recording my videos, it's like late in the night. Usually, I don't know why. It's always late in the night, and so like
you're
around
winding
1.
down, right?
Yeah. So like I have like this like mic in front of me, and I'm just like reading from the script. Everything, of course, is like I have to like think about it, and I have to like script it and write say it. And then it's like, for some reason, it just turned out like that. Like, that's why I sounded more calm sometimes.
Yeah,
but,
I can definitely picture people as they winding down in the bed, scrolling through Instagram and like encounter your videos, and I can definitely tell like how it's kind of nice, you know.
Yeah, I think there's something really real and like relatable to your videos. Like as someone like as a foreigner living in Japan, I was like, I think when you came up on my For You page, I was like, I can vibe with this guy. So I think maybe that's kind of like why your content is like really awesome, or I like
it's nice to hear.
It's very unadulterated, unsaturated. It's authentic, honest, but not like it's neutral at the same time.
I do try to be like, for example, let's say I go to like a restaurant, and like, okay, so this is like I have a thing with this one like Malaysian restaurant.
Yeah.
And so I don't particularly love it. I had a very situation.
Kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I was disappointed. It was a Malaysian restaurant. Like it's been a while.
Right.
When they're not really happy, and when I put it on the internet, I don't want it to trash it too much.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, oh, this is bad. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I wanted this is not the best from my. It's like if you have the acquired taste for it, like if you know what it's supposed to taste like, it doesn't taste that great. But we are in Japan, so give it a try by yourself. I would not particularly recommend it to like other Malaysians,
Right.
but for Japanese people, it could be a very good intro
Sure.
to Malaysian
Yeah.
food.
Sure.
So that's how I would say it, because I don't want to like push my opinions on you. I want to be as neutral as possible. Unless it's really really bad, then I'm like, okay, this is really really bad.
Right.
So yeah, I try to be like that, but I don't know.
And I think you're like succeeding at it.
So what do you think are some of like the pros and maybe cons to like creating content?
True.
Creating content itself has, to be honest, like made me connect with a lot of other people. Like for you guys, basically, if we're not basically making content, we would not be here.
Right.
To be honest, so I feel like creating content is. I'm actually pushing for literally every single time I meet other people, and you're like, oh, like I don't know what to do. Oh, I want to do something new. I would always just tell them like, just make content.
Yeah.
Just like it doesn't have to be like you need to post something. You don't have to like do anything, but just try and give it a try, and then like it will help you for some reason, because it has helped me in some situations.
Sure.
So yeah, like I think that's the good part, where you can actually you can make connections, and also you can you can have like opportunities that usually would not come to you
For sure.
normally.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to be an influencer. I want to create content, and that it helps you. Sure, if it doesn't help you, then just fine. It's fine. And then so yeah, there's definitely the opportunities and the connections with creating content. The bad part about creating content is if you kind of like got canceled because of that.
Right.
I mean, that's me just watching like a lot of my my things, people at work, and also the constant need to have to put anything up. That's so tiring.
That's definitely, there's always that background anxiety of like, oh my gosh,
That's
like
true.
I'm falling behind in my.
Literally, like because like right now my views are not the highest, and I would look at it and I'm like, I mean, I'm still thankful for all those people who watch, but then like, mind you, I also work from the agency side as well, and then in my mindset, I wish like, oh, it would be nice if I could also kind of make it into like a second job, a side hustle or something, instead of just like putting things out and then meh, like it smokes and everything. Of course, like it could like, to be honest, everything is okay. Like I enjoy doing what I do anyway, but I'm also like, if I see my like the numbers, I would be like, oh yeah, this person is not doing well. So I have that side of perspective as well. So like right now, like Instagram is not really pushing my stuff. So I'm like, no.
Yeah,
What do I
especially
do?
you have that knowledge from like agency side of things.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely pressure. Do you have like a structure to your posting routine where you try to post a certain amount of time a week, or is it kind of just tequito, like casual?
To be honest, I went from trying to do it like a gesuikin. So like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So sometimes just like post like every single day.
Okay.
And then sometimes I would just like disappear. So
Yeah.
I had no
consistency.
To be honest, that's probably where like Instagram like punishes me.
Yeah, I think I have the same punishment right now. So I have a final question for you.
Right.
Which is, so now you've been in Japan for 10 years. What are your future goals? Are you planning to stay in Japan like Zuto? And also, are you planning to stay in this job Zuto, or do you want to pivot to something else? Like, what is your goals? Even if it's like crazy and wild, like tell us. Tell us what you're thinking.
Sure. So basically, if you're my employer right now, close this. Don't listen to it. This is where you can stop.
Bye.
Bye.
It's a
Thank
wrap.
you.
Bye.
But in terms of so I have like several things I think I want to do. If possible, staying in an agency forever is really tiring.
Right.
Yeah.
A marketing agency, it's kind of like you get what people like are telling you. So let's say you're able to get like this amount of money, do these things, and then you're not able to do like anything different from there. So let's say you want to do something. Oh, it would be better to do it like this, but they're like, no, we want to do it like that. So we can't really do anything. So it is kind of like my goal right now to kind of pivot into more of brands, like the end client side. So maybe like one of the big brands and everything. It would be nice to pivot into that area. So that's in terms of work, that will be right now there, and then maybe, who knows, like going to marketing director, or like growing higher in the marketing world. I do think that I like marketing
Right.
Okay.
in a whole. So definitely that's something that I want to go down on.
Yeah.
So there is that for the career side. And for staying in Japan, to be honest, I don't really know. I already got my PR in Japan. I got it.
Really? Oh, cause you've been here for 10 years.
10 years, yes, but I actually had to use the point system.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has
So-
N2.
I have
that's
N1.
point. Oh, you have N1.
And
okay.
you have a graduate degree.
Yeah, I
too.
graduated
I think
from-
that helps.
Yeah,
too,
I graduated from a Japanese university, a
Mm.
Japanese Kokuritsu, the national university.
It's a big
And
deal.
also, I have
Yeah.
also my master's as well. And also that university is also pretty good in terms of.
If I was a
Japanese.
government, I would want him to
Right.
stay as well.
Exactly.
So makes
and
sense.
I work well. I work with. I got paid quite well at my first job because it was in the middle of the countryside and they
Mhm.
really wanted people to stay.
Right. Yeah.
So thanks to that, I could easily rank up the marks for I think around 80.
Mm.
So
Okay.
that means I only needed to work for a year, pay my taxes for a year, and I could get it.
Okay.
Okay.
So it took you maybe 8 years to get a PR.
Essentially, yeah. I think 9 years.
Oh,
Like that.
okay.
I think I got everything around 2023.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
2023. I'm able to get everything, like all the credentials and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And then after that, I applied in 2023 March. I got it in 2024 March.
Okay.
It took a year.
Mm.
Oh my
Right now,
gosh.
it's so getting longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, I heard it's so long. By the way, I just want to pause and say for anyone who doesn't know what PR is, it's permanent residency.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
kind of
true.
what all of us foreigners strive for in
Yeah.
Japan because you don't have to go through the visa applying
Mm.
process. And when your visa expires, to renew it over and over again, all of the horrible paperwork quests that you have to go on
Mhm.
every time you have to renew it. So, yeah, it's a really big deal, and it's really hard to apply for PR. So it's
Yeah.
really, really a good.
And also, you get to do whatever you want.
Yeah, you're free to work any job.
Like if I really want to, I can just quit my job and just work at a convenience store.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't
I
do that
could,
either.
but I wouldn't.
But,
do
like-
Yeah, I wouldn't do that as well.
it.
But there is a sense of I can.
Mm.
Yeah, freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah, whereas I do feel a little more held to
Okay, good.
yeah, if I want to quit my job, I only have 3 months to find a new job before my visa kind of gets
Mm.
canceled. So it's a lot of pressure.
And also, there's a point where, especially for content creators, if you quit your main job, then you can't do content in Japan
You
Right.
mean
as a
more-
resident
Mm.
anymore. You have to leave, or you have to just keep coming
Mm.
back or something.
so you have to give up on that as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there's always it's just the freedom. What does it bring me? To be honest, PR not really anything
Mm.
interesting, but there's a freedom of if I want to leave, I can.
Right.
If I don't want to,
Right.
yeah.
And less visits to the immigration office.
Yeah, that's true. But I do miss one thing: being able to use. Not miss. I've never been able to do that. The passport tax free.
Oh.
I want to experience that more.
Wait. But with the PR?
No,
Don't you
I've
still-
been in Japan for so long, so you can. No, because I've always been half a visa here in Japan, so I've never been able to use that.
Oh,
You can
I
only
see.
use it if you have a
Tourist.
tourist visa.
Okay.
So there's always that one thing. I'm like, I've always wanted to feel what it feels like to go into that counter and swipe my passport and use it.
I've never done that before.
Yeah, sometimes they ask me if I'm in a touristy area, Shibuya, Don Quixote. They're
Right.
like,
You got
"Tax-free,"
a
and I'm like,
passport?
"Ah,
I've been here too long, man.
I have a visa.
Mm.
So yeah, there's also that. So in terms of staying in Japan, I'm not really sure how long I want to do it. I'll stay as long as I can, and then if it doesn't work out, I'll just switch countries, go somewhere else or something. In terms of what else? I think that's pretty much it. And
Okay.
also making content, then it'll be better. It'll be. I do want to switch into YouTube form
Okay.
because that's where you make the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The money.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm trying to do now too.
Mm.
I have a YouTube channel that I've been working on for quite a few years, but
Right.
very on and off, not consistent enough, which is so hard because that's the consistency is the key.
Right.
But again, yeah, because I don't have PR, and if I wanted to quit my job and focus on my content, that's not something I can do.
Mm.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Yeah, we can all do it.
Yeah.
I do have the thing is if you are gonna That's that. If you're gonna like apply for a PR, move out from Tokyo, the Tokyo region, because right now everyone and their mom is applying for that visa,
That's true.
Yeah.
the PR visa in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So it's like the immigration is taking a long time to process it. But I heard like I think in Osaka or like outside of like the Kanto region, if like the office is not from like the Tokyo branch, it's like 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. That actually goes with even regular visas because
Yeah.
when I lived in Kyoto, it took like 3 weeks to renew my visa. Now that I live in Tokyo, it took like 3 to 4 months to renew my visa recently. Yeah. I was so nervous, and I was leaving. It was actually so funny. I was leaving the country,
Right.
and like the day before I left, I got the notification that my visa was ready, and I had to pick it up in 10 days, or else I don't know what happened. It just said 10 days or else.
Wow.
And so I had to like the morning of my flight, like go to the immigration office, like wait there for 2 hours, like look at the time, like I had to like run straight to Haneda from the immigration. Anyway,
It was
good advice. Like go to the countryside if you want PR, or even if like. Yeah, you need to renew your visa.
basically if you're here for the Japanese experience, don't stay in Japan. Don't
Don't
if you
stay
want,
in
yeah,
Tokyo.
don't stay in Tokyo or like the Tokyo region. Go somewhere else. But if you're here to make connections, if you want to get the opportunities, like the work opportunities and everything, Tokyo is
Tokyo is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
literally.
I think that's
That's
good.
it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good place to leave off. So, anyway, thank you so much, Tom,
No,
for
thank you.
coming.
Thank you so
It
much,
was great
man.
having you. Thanks for sharing all of your advice with us. And one more time, where can people find you?
You can find me across like Instagram, TikTok, even on YouTube to be honest. But just search TOMMSHEN.
Yeah.
You can find me.
Yeah, we can plug you in.
Yeah.
And if you have question for us, emails.
Kotatsu Club Podcast at gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, bye.
Bye.